Don't fade me, bro. This is the WeWin Sports Podcast.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the WeWin Sports Podcast. Today, we'll give our 30-second rants. We'll give you our two best bets of the week. David Woodley started Speed Survivor. I invested $100,000 as CEO founder. Website is speedsurvivor.com. Woodley has great knowledge and sharp takes. Brandon Cantu is a two-time World Series of Poker winner and has a World Poker Tour title as well. Cantu always has some well-thought-out takes. Mike the Mouth Matusow is a four-time World Series of Poker winner. Mikey knows sports, studies sports, and watches more games than all of us combined. Okay, so today we're filming on a Thursday. Cantu, where are you? You're in Sacramento?
Yeah, I'm outside Indian Casino, Thunder Valley, 30 minutes outside of Sacramento.
Stayed there many times. What do they have there? World Series circuit events?
It's the World Poker Tour main tour. There's only 4 or 5 stops this year. This is one of them in Thunder Valley. I'm here for the week, getting comfortable.
That's a big one. Woodley,
Yeah.
you're at home?
Well, close to home. I'm actually in New York right now at a hotel just for this podcast. I got this hotel room just for this podcast. I'm out here for a conference, and there was no place quiet to do this podcast, so it's a dedication. So I got a hotel room, but it's been nice. I've been able to come
Woodley, don't
crash
try
here.
to charge us. Don't try to charge
Yeah.
us. Don't try to
the World
charge
Poker
the
Tour
pod.
has like 20 events and only 5 in the United States. They really care about us.
It's less than that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. No, it's going to EdgeBoost. EdgeBoost will be paying this, our great sponsor. We'll talk.
Go ahead, Woodley. Why don't you, since you brought up EdgeBoost, go.
Yeah, EdgeBoost is the first ever dedicated bank account for gamblers. That's right. 100% approval rate for sports betting, daily fantasy sports, casino, and sweeps, whether you're online or at a brick and mortar spot. But here's where it gets even better. With the EdgeBoost Visa debit card, you can move up to $250K a day and earn cash back up to 0.5% on every single deposit. It's a no-brainer. It's blowing up. It's blowing up in the poker world. Big news coming out there very soon. Earn today. Go to edgeboost.bet. We'll have some links in the comments as well, but thanks as always to them.
Okay, Mikey, let's swing the ball to you. I'm passing you the ball, my man. You got a rant for us, or sure, am I going to Cantu?
I mean, losing LeBron really hurts in the Lakers game. This was going to be they're the only team in the NBA this year that plays 6 games in 8 nights. And this is the start of their 6 games in 8 nights. That's why losing that game to Brooklyn when they had a 15-point lead like 2 days ago were really, really bad. And now they play a back-to-back tonight. They play Milwaukee coming off a brutal 4-point play where Indiana won the game at the buzzer 2 days ago. And now they get Milwaukee at home coming off that loss. And then they have to go play a back-to-back at Denver tomorrow night. My Lakers are going to fade, and hopefully they won't fade past the 6th seed. I'm very worried without LeBron.
I like that rant, Mike, by the way. And yeah, I think they play the Bucks, and then they play. I mean, it's brutal.
The only team in the NBA this year to play 6 games in 8 nights. Of course, LeBron was crying about it like 3 weeks ago because that's what he always does.
Oh boy, Mike. Oh boy, let's not bring up LeBron and crying.
Yeah.
All right, Cantu, what do you got for us? You got a little rant?
My rant of the day is on signatures and how people can be very fooled with signatures. Mike is showing me his Shohei Ohtani. He's trying to tell me that he's only signed 7 things in the world this year. How ridiculous it is. He's like, no, he never signs. He never signs. I'm like, dude, I'm pretty heavily in sports cards. I know a lot about sports cards. I see more Shohei Ohtani's autographs than you could ever see in your life. He signs everything. And Mike's like, no, he doesn't sign. Look at this jersey. I got a game-worn jersey. Here's a jersey and a little sports card down at the bottom that he signed this card down at the bottom that's just completely worthless. Sorry for your worthless buy, Mike. Second of all, Danny, can you please show the Josh Aurier tweet about Phil? And we'll take a look to read the tweet. And it just shows It was something to the effect of the chicken scratch that Phil wrote on his card. Now, I wanted to have a lecture to Phil. Now, again, knowing something about cards, collectors want a nice signature. If you just write PH, the P is over here, the H is over here, a J is down here, and the R, I think it's PHJR.
Are those the new
down
cards
here.
or the
It
ones
makes your
from
card,
2006?
It makes your card worth about, well, I don't know. It makes it worth a lot less. Like if you have a beautiful signature, people like Ichiro has a beautiful signature. Shohei Ohtani's Japanese signature is beautiful. That raises value. Damian Lillard has a real beautiful signature. It raises the value for the collectors if you take a little more time, Phil.
Are you out of your fucking mind? We had to sign like 3,000 of these fucking things on a piece of fucking whatever the fuck it is. You think we're going to sit there one at a time and sign them? I mean,
Mike, were you paid for that?
I was at the, who gives a fuck? I was at the charity.
No, Mike, here's a question. Were you paying for your service?
Yeah, but I signed them all my regular signature.
It doesn't matter. So you're being paid for your job, Mike.
I'm being paid for my signature.
A little bit more care in what you're doing because there is people out there, there's collectors out there that want the best Mike Matusow signature and they want to hang it up on their wall. There's kids in their room. They're putting it down. You need to take a little more time on your signature.
Dude.
That's all I have to say.
Dude,
This is true. Okay, Mike, hold on. Hold your horses. I'm going to say this. Josh Aria did put out a tweet about how ugly my signature is and a one-of-one card in this new poker set, and my cards look pretty cool. I don't know how they made them look so good, but they did. And so, but I signed, and that's my signature. It's ugly, but that signature exists in 10,000 places or 20,000 places. I've been signing, and then they send you, hey, we need you to sign 300 signatures. And then I've had sets where it's 600 signatures. I've been a part of probably 10 card sets. And so it's a lot of signatures and you end up signing them. And you Cantu, just for the record, the P is for Philip, the J is for Jerome, the H, I try to go H-E or H-E-L, Hellmuth, and then J-R, I got to get the junior on there. So that's what it is.
Oh, by the way,
I actually studied it and I couldn't read it, Phil. But my other,
by the way, in those set of cards, Brian, who's like mine and Phil's agent, he's like, they accidentally put this card in there. Is that okay? I'm like, it says full tilt on it, and I was 4 years old. I mean, really? And he's like, well, you look good. I'm like, I look 20 years younger in a brand new set of cards.
Mike, I want to say this.
I mean, Brian said go ahead and leave it in there, so I did.
That's Brian Bossball, my agent, his agent. They sent, you know what they did? I sent my 300 in, I mailed it off, and they said, Phil, we didn't receive them. I said, give it another week.
I thought it was
we didn't
3,000.
receive them. Give it another week.
Maybe it was 300.
Give it a month passes. Phil, you have to sign 300 more. And so I realized that I can't really say, oh, you should pay me twice. So I just shut up and I signed the freaking cards. Okay. Cantu's rant was about signatures. I connects well with Mike Shohei Ohtani. Woodley, you got a rant for us?
Yeah, I'm bummed I wasn't on the show last week because it's a little dated. But we all went down to Bet Rivers in Philly, and it was actually a great time. They took care of us there. It's Phil's new sponsor, great people. But I've now played with Phil, I think, live like 5 times. And I had a good night, but it's not about that, right? So I'm like 2-2-1 when playing with him.
How much did you win?
Like 7,500.
Yeah, you were up 5K when we left. Cantu and I have some comments about your play after you're done with your rant.
Well, I'm about to. This is where it gets to. Okay, so like obviously, I got the first Phil Hellmuth experience finally from him, where I got the berating a bit. It wasn't over the top like some of the YouTube videos, but it was getting there because I hit a 2-outer against him, which I admitted like. You know what? But he talked me into it. He got too cute on it. I was going to fold until he did his whole theatrics. I hit the 2-outer on him. And then like 10 hands later, I did the exact same. I played it the exact same as Phil did against Jay White. And I know I love Jay White, but Jay White is not Phil. And I played it the exact same way. And I got Jay White all in on the river. I bet it small on I hit a set. I bet it's small on, or I called the flop. I bet a small bet.
Woodley, you're starting to lose the audience. What's your point?
And I pushed it all, and I did the same thing as you did. And what does Phil do? I win this nice pot. I feel good. Oh, you played that all wrong, Woodley, and starts not berating me, but kind of berating me there. And I said, Phil, well, I did the same.
Oh, he was berating you.
He was berating me. And then Phil, 5 hands later, like got up and left. But then to give Phil credit, like an hour later, we were all cool and all this. But I played it the exact same as Phil did, but I did it. If Phil does it, it's okay. But if I do it,
yeah,
after...
that's how it is with Phil.
Yeah.
You know, now that we're talking about poker, I guess I could bring up my week at the Hustler Casino live show last week.
Wait, Mike, but make it a concentrated patch.
Well, I'll just go with this. I played great on all 3 days. I won 37.5 the first day.
Mike, what I like, you know what the audience wants to hear from you? You just exactly this. You put this in our channel. You said, I told Ryan I will not play with this particular individual.
Yeah, I was going to get
with a half an hour to go.
Yeah, and so
you were up like 35,000.
I was up
for the
40
week.
for the week, and a specific individual who I do not like, and everybody knows I do not like. Ryan then gives him the seat, and then he calls me and brings me out and said, "Oh, I forgot that you don't like to play with him." And like, you know, it's his show. So what am I going to say? Like, I thought it'd be rude if I said, no, I don't want, well, I originally said, no, I don't. And he says, okay, fine. Then I said, oh, whatever, you know, it's 45 minutes. And then the very last hand of the week off stream, I pick up kings against aces and lose a 92K pot to him. And lose 10,000 for the week.
You know what, Mike? I want to add on to that.
Hold on, Cantu. Mike loses $46,000 to a guy he told Ryan Feldman of Hustler Casino he did not want to play with the guy. And then Ryan accidentally invited him, and Mike decided to be a nice guy.
Yeah.
And then the most brutal thing is, like, losing the hand's the most brutal thing. The second most brutal thing is it was the first hand off stream.
Right.
So Mike, he didn't even get empathy or
right. Everybody thinks that. Everybody's like, wow, Mike played great all week, and he won 40 grand, and he didn't make any mistake, because I really didn't make any mistakes. And the funny thing about the last hand, because and we don't really want to talk too much about it, is like, because I knew there was 2 people left in stand-up, and so I opened big for 500, and then he makes it 3,000.
Mike, most poker players don't know what stand-up is. The point is this: it was a really bad, unlucky spot, and because of other things happening at the time,
the universe had to come all together for me to get stacked for 46,000 with kings, because normally I could get away, right? But it's just like
Since
we'll
we
just
started
leave it at
talking
that.
about poker, can we talk about Woodley in Philadelphia now? Cantu?
Oh, we're done with that.
Can I?
Yeah, I just wanted to
Cantu,
give Mike a little Cantu advice, and I know that Mike already knows this advice. Real quick, just my response to that. There's only probably a half dozen, maybe a dozen people in the world that I don't like to play with. That either it's a lot of times it's not even I don't like them. They just kind of can be annoying at the table or bothersome. Yeah. Every time I play with them and I break my rule, like Mike just did, that he didn't want to play with this player, something crazy happens.
Me too.
Just like Mike said, the kings into the aces. I think it has something to do with we put that energy into the world. Like, you know what, I'm not going to play a hand against them. Well, I got kings, I got to play. Then that happens.
I mean,
you just got to stay away. You got to stick to your guns. No, Mike, say no.
He 3 and 4 bet me like 3 times that I folded all times. And Ryan said that I was beat every time. So, you know, I just didn't want to play big pot with him. I just because it's like, I'd rather lose. I just didn't want to lose a big pot to him.
I want to hear Cantu's feedback on my game, because my feedback on his game is he busted like 7 buy-ins. We kept having to like peel off $20 off the floor.
That's what Cantu does.
Woodley, would you like to talk about the Philadelphia game for a while longer, and then you can try to anticipate every criticism in advance? And or you want to do that? Go ahead.
No, we can.
Why
go
don't you
to
talk
the show.
for 5 more minutes about the Philadelphia game?
Why don't we talk about sports instead of poker?
You were the one that brought it up, Phil. You said you had feedback.
Well, we haven't had a chance to speak yet. You've already spoke. You keep talking about this. Like, I mean, you want your criticisms or not? You can just say no.
Yeah. Give the criticism. Yeah.
So first, Cantu, this idiot Woodley. So we're playing like, what are the blinds? 5-10?
Yeah, it wasn't much. 5-10.
So the guy kept raising his blind like 5 times, and Woodley starts threatening him. He's raising from like early position. And I'm like, what is Woodley? Is he insane? And this is not some tournament where some guy's trying to steal his blinds. There's no money out there. So he's already talking to this guy. Now so then an hour later, Woodley decides to just mount up and move in with Jack Queen offsuit for like a massive amount of chips. And the guy snaps him with ace king. And Woodley starts talking He puts in $2,000 in a frickin' 5-10 game, 200 big blind, starts talking about I had to do it. The guy kept stealing my blind. Woodley wasn't even in the big blind. He was in the small blind this hand. And I'm hearing is, I had to do it, Phil. I had to do it. So they run it twice. Woodley wins it twice. And I'm like, what is going on? But I'm rooting for Woodley because the other guy we don't know. So I'm rooting for Woodley. You can't make this up. The very next hand, Cantu, it comes 7-8-9 against the same guy. And Woodley somehow has 10-jack. Against the guy's 5-6.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
again, so now Woodley's whole 4,000 gets in there. The guy's drawing dead. So now Woodley has up to 8,000, literally 2 hands before it moved in with Jack Queen offsuit for 200 big blinds. And I'm like, what is going on here? But I'm happy for Woodley. All right, now Woodley's in the big blind. You can't make this up. I limp with deuces. Finally, I'm watching, it comes deuce 5-7, rainbow, and I'm so happy. I'm like, everybody's drawing dead here. Woodley had checked back with 10s in the big blind, which I don't even understand. Like, why would you ever try to trap with 10s? It's a great time to raise. But I'm like, I've never checked back with 10s in my life.
Is that the same guy that did 3-bet 10s, 3-handed, and got stacked?
Mike, let me finish, Mike. The flop comes deuce 5-7, and so now it goes bet, call. I put in a massive raise, right? There's 2 spades on board. What do you think I have? It goes call, and then Jay White calls with a 7, of course. He's dead. Now the turn is a 6. So now they both check, and I jam for 1,800 because there's new 2 flush draws out there. You know what I mean? And I can see that Jay White's trying to fold his hand out of turn. You know what I mean? And now Woodley starts thinking. So I'm like, oh my God, Woodley might be really dead here. Let me talk him into this pot. So I start talking. Talking, trying to look weak. Like I had $10 in this pot on the flop, Cantu. Suddenly, I've jammed in 1,800 on the turn after jamming in 350 on the flop. Somehow Woodley's like, all right, I call. And then he says, I say I have a set. He says, oh man. He basically said, I'm drawing dead, which is really cold. He's like, you could run it, this is an exact quote, you could run it 1,000,000 times, I'll never win once. That's what he said. And so I'm like, all right, twice, just go quickly. Bam, river's a 10. He's like, oh, I get half. And I'm just like so tilted because I'm in 1K, I'm going to be up 4,000. Now this is where things went off the rail for me. I then tilted off the entire 5,000 and left 1,000 loser. That's on me. I tilted. But I couldn't believe that Woodley could put in the money with 2 10s, and I couldn't believe he'd get there. I'm supposed to be up 4K, maybe win 8K. And so, anyway, Cantu, do you have any thoughts on Woodley's play that day? Because you lost, and I lost. Yeah, Mike, and then we'll move on to, like, we're talking about our Philadelphia trip. I can't help it if you didn't show up.
Yeah, I didn't like that hand specifically, but after that, he played good. He played, Phil was very upset. Let me tell you, Phil was very upset. He ended up quitting a few minutes later because he only won half the pot. He quit.
I tilted off the 3,000 in front of me. Then I quit.
Did you? I don't even. Yeah, it was only a few hands later. So
there was a
I made it another
item.
40 minutes. I'd already signed. Listen, I don't know if you guys know this. I had already signed 350 autographs. They asked me to sign an hour and a half. I signed 3 hours. All right, let's move on. My pick of the week is from tonight's Golden State Warriors game. There is a young man who we've been teaching how to play poker. He's 20 years old, and his name is Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga is back. His over-under number tonight is 11.5 points. He was averaging close to 18 points, I believe. He's going to come back, and he's going to come back strong tonight.
Won't even get that many minutes, bro.
Right. And so Mike's theory is, Mike, you can give your theory later, but I think he's going to come back strong. Kuminga is a force. He's an up-and-coming. He's a rising player. I think Kuminga's going to take it to the hole a bunch of times. I think he's going to have over 11.5. So that's my pick. Mike, are you already saying something negative? Because you're always on the other side.
I went 2-0 for last Thursday's games. Thank you, guys.
You went 2-0 on the podcast.
Yeah.
Well done.
And
all right.
So,
what do you think about Kuminga?
I think he's going to play very, very limited minutes tonight. I would take under 11.5. He probably only play like 20 minutes. This is I was looking at the games tonight, and
Mike, first address my pick, then I'll go to Cantu.
I like the under.
You like the under. Cantu.
I don't think he'll play many minutes.
I'll agree with you, Phil. I don't have much to add. I'm going to agree with you on the over just because you liked it. I liked your reasoning.
Woodley?
I don't really have an opinion.
I trust you on this, Phil, and Mike will go against you every time, but I'll ride with you.
I like because it's such like a specific pick. I feel like you're tuned in, to the Kuminga universe.
The one thing the Warriors have done right, and I'm still talking about my pick here, is what they do is they really let people come all the way back. So Kuminga's been out for like a month or a month, and it's been a long time.
I mean,
and he was ready to play.
How could you like
I'm
a
sure
guy
he was
that
ready
over
to
11
play
and a
the last
half
few
that's
games.
been out a month that's going to go up against Sabonis? It's the only thing they got is interior defense because Sacramento's fucking outside defense is terrible. So I just don't see
You
it.
like the other side. Okay, that's fair, Mike. All right, Mike, you give us your bet of the week.
Well, I mean, right now, I was looking at all the games tonight, and the Lakers are on the verge of a four games in 5 nights and 6 games in 8 nights. It's never been done in the NBA this year. Like I said earlier, LeBron went crazy about the scheduling. So I looked at this game with the Lakers now having over 2 days off going into this game. And I'm going to take the Lakers plus 6.5 today because if they don't cover tonight, it's going to be disaster for them. They got to
Mike,
go.
you might even get 7 on that pick. At my side, it's 7, but continue.
And they go and they play Denver in Denver tomorrow, which they ain't winning that game.
But Mike, you're talking about they're playing the Bucks tonight.
The Bucks, yeah. I don't. I mean, I just think you're going to get a full effort from the Lakers tonight, like it's a must-win game, and so if I just think that tonight's the night you're going to get the effort. Give me the 7 with the Lakers as my top pick. And I do.
Okay, hold on. Then let's go to Cantu. Cantu, what do you think? We've been talking about Luka a lot. Luka Doncic.
I do like the Lakers. I think LeBron has been faking an injury. I think he pulled that groin because he knew he had 6 of 8. He's been complaining about the 6 of 8. I'll put a conspiracy theory. He's not hurt. He knows that the 6 of 8 is absolutely brutal. Yeah, he could play 1 or 2 games. Take the 8 days off. Get a nice rest. With that said, I still like Luka. I've been really pro Luka on here, and I know he's struggling to find his way into the new offense. I like the Lakers. This was going to be one of my picks. I'll take plus points.
Okay, so you'll take it as well. It's interesting because Luka is he single-handedly won a lot of games for the Mavericks, and he's single-handedly going to win a lot of games for the Lakers. Woodley, what say you?
When you do these big stretches like this,
you got to find the spots.
A team like the Lakers, you kind of have to find the spots. The players have to find the spots, right? Like you're playing 6 games. They'll never say this, but they'll be happy if they go 2 and 4. They'll be over the fucking moon if they go 3 and 3.
I agree.
It is like the
I
first.
agree with
It
you.
is like the first. It is this is like the first one, right? So they should be relatively fresh.
This is the first of 4 games in 5 days. That's with 2 days off and a 2-game losing streak.
But they know this, so I think this is a non-conference opponent. This is a game they know they will lose. This is one of those games that it feels like if they get down, if they're down double digits in the fourth quarter, they're just gonna bench everyone and fight another day. So give me the Bucks. I would just avoid this altogether because again, it's the regular season is meaningless for this Lakers team. I mean, it's the only thing that matters for them is getting Luka up to speed and comfortable with his teammates. And they're going to make the playoffs. And Mike's worried about their seed. I don't think it matters with the Lakers. I think as long as they're
I agree.
not an 8 seed, they'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, I am worried about them falling below the 6. I really am.
Okay, so I like the Bucks tonight, and I think Mike talked about it earlier on the show, that incredible 4-point play
Brutal
where they
loss.
lost.
Yeah, I understand.
So I think they're kind of upset. They had a game they should have won, or at least not lost in regulation. And I mean that was really
the most
something.
insane game finish. I don't know if I couldn't even believe it. I was watching it.
That was
live.
one of the best finishes I've ever seen. Who was it that hit that shot?
I mean, Halliburton fading away. He had the ball in his right hand, and he switched it to his left hand.
He's running straight.
Or had it in his left hand, switched it to his right hand.
It's like a football play, Mike. They send 4 guys running up the floor.
They
One.
tried that last year in the playoffs.
catch, shoot. Somehow it goes in. He gets fouled by Giannis. So I think and I think that Milwaukee is also, they want to beat the Lakers. I think they're going to be up for the game. So we're split on that one.
Number.
All right. Now, Woodley, I want to ask you a question here. And then I want everybody's quick opinion on this. I think it's impossible, very difficult to pick against the spread in the NBA. Do you know one person who's making a living betting NBA spreads during the regular season?
No.
I mean, I don't know him personally, but like Harabov.
No, he doesn't even bet. He don't bet anymore.
Harabov, whatever you say his name. Yeah, but I mean, but like that, it's tough. I mean, it's like where the pros do it. They bet you can win money. They bet college basketball regular season.
Correct.
Right? Like NBA, it feels like recreational better. All over
Cantu,
the place.
do you know anybody who's beating the NBA regular season spread?
Personally, I do not know anyone like in my phone book right now that is beating it, and I know a lot of pro bettors. But I do know year in, year out, there is some people that get hot, or 2 years in, 2 years out, they've been hot. And I know there are people beating it, but it's very tough.
Yeah. Okay, Mikey, do you know anybody beating the NBA spreads?
No, but when you get down, and this is being honest, when I get down to like the last 15, 20 games every year, I've been really sharp on them because some teams start to quit, and some teams start to want to get in the playoff mode. And
I agree with Mike.
And so they put the regular numbers up that have been up all year, and like the really good teams start to crush, and the teams that kind of like fading just kind of give up. And so I've really done well the last 15, 20 games every year. And other than that, no. I mean, I've always been terrible in the NBA.
All right. So, all right, Woodley, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go to you for your number one bet of the week. Cantu, you'll be next.
Yeah, we got the Christopher Bell one last week. He's won 3 in a row. And my biggest bet of the year was season-long bet Christopher Bell over 3.5 wins. He's now won 3 in a row. Like he's got like 30 more.
Woodley, I just want to tell the folks, you gave it at 6-1. We gave that pick out. So that was a big win for the podcast. Well done.
It was a good race. It was actually a really fun race. So they go to Vegas this weekend.
Jason White's in Vegas, one of our friends. He's like, Phil, come and hang out with Denny Hamlin and Jeff Gordon and I. And I was in Vegas yesterday, and I just need some time off, and I'm just a little bit tired. In fact, I'm in the Bay Area tonight. I'm scheduled to play poker with, we'll see, Jimmy Butler, Draymond, Steph, one of the biggest influencers in the world. It should be a really fun game tonight. Poker game tonight. We'll see. They're playing Sacramento, and then the poker game would start
I like
at like
Sacramento
10:30.
even more if they're going to be playing poker after the fucking game. Yeah.
Anyways,
why? I mean, they don't sleep. It's after the game. It has no effect at all.
Yeah. Well, maybe their fucking heads will be like, "Oh, I'm playing poker with Phil Hellmuth and one of the biggest influencers in the game. Who gives a fuck?"
Okay. Anyways, I'm going back to the NASCAR well. I'm gonna give you one long shot. I'm gonna bet them both, maybe at different unit sizes. But I'm gonna go back there with Christopher Bell. He's won 3 in a row. Like he's the best driver in NASCAR. And when these guys get hot, they get hot. You can get him 6-1 in FanDuel. So I love that. And then I'm also gonna take as a long shot Brad Keselowski at 37-1. Like Brad's actually won Vegas a couple times, and he usually runs pretty high up. So I'm actually gonna bet him top 5, top 10 as well. And you're gonna get some pretty decent odds on that.
I've never been out to the track, but I heard that the Vegas track really favors the drivers. Is that true? I mean, more than any other, or do I have it backwards? It's not like Daytona, right?
It's more true. It's more true to form of racing. I don't know how to put it.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot less variance in it.
There you go.
I think you can kind of find the value there. Like Daytona, there's a lot of wrecks. Like Vegas, there'll be wrecks. But like the guys that are the best drivers should be leading most of the time, so they're not going to get caught up in shit that's not their problem. I like Bell. I like that team. I think he's the best driver in the sport right now. He races for Joe Gibbs Racing, right? And he's like the leader of it. It's like the passing of the torch. Like Denny Hamlin's been kind of like leading that team for a while, even though he hasn't won a championship. He's probably been the best driver there. Christopher Bell, I think, is like 25, 26, kind of like getting into this prime. Hamlin maybe has like a year or two left, and Bell is kind of taking that torch. And Jay White could probably talk to this. It's like when you have these big teams, right? And Joe Gibbs Racing has 4 drivers. there's always a pecking order. Like the guy that has the best chance to win the championship, they're going to put a little bit more. He's going to get the engine that's a little bit better. If the crew chiefs, he's going to have the best crew team. Like if there's a tire changer that's a little bit better, they're going to give him. So I think they're putting all the chips there on Christopher Bell, and at 6-1, I think it's still great value. So give me Christopher Bell and Keselowski at 38-1 as a long shot. It's Vegas, so roll the dice.
Cantu, have you been to the track in Vegas?
Yeah, I've been a couple times. It's a lot of fun.
You went to drivers meetings. You went did the stuff, the drivers meeting.
I kind of went and I sat in Ryan Sieg's box up above. He kind of had each driver has a box right above pit road and was kind of sitting by the crew chief. It's kind of interesting. They give a headset just like this, and there's guys on my left and on my right side. They're talking about the race, and I'm sitting in the middle of them. It was a cool experience just to get to take it all in, because I didn't know like what all goes into it. So I'm kind of looking to the left, to the right, and they're talking with spotters upstairs. Hey, like, be careful coming in here. You need to come into the pits. It was a lot to take in. It's amazing what goes into it.
Every time I talk about like VIP experiences, I seem like I'm bragging. So here we go. I went to the drivers meeting in Vegas. I was hanging out with one of the drivers, and he drove me home after one of the workouts. And I'm going to tell you something. It's this very weird thing. He was going like 70 miles an hour on a side street, and I never felt so safe. It's like it's like another instinct. And I just had a great time. I was on pit row. I had access to everything. And then I went to the NASCAR championship to watch Denny. And I didn't have any credentials. I walked right out on the track. The drivers, they play poker. So it was kind of cool. I didn't have any credentials. They let me into the drivers meeting, and I thought that was impossible. So I guess all I'm doing is bragging about my NASCAR experiences. Okay, Cantu, do you have any opinion on this pick? Because I don't know enough about NASCAR, but I will say this. I just bet both Woodley's picks while he was talking. And I regret not betting the bell.
Woodley has been hot in NASCAR, so I'm not going to go against anything he says. I'm just going to leave it what he has, but I'll be following his picks.
Mike, any you know what, Mike, you know nothing about NASCAR. Let's move on.
I don't know. Nor do I have any interest, by the way.
Cantu, we've all given our number one picks. Why don't you give us your number one pick?
Well, my number one pick is going to be Ryan Sieg. What I was kind of just bringing it in, and that was going to be that before we started talking about that. He is plus 1,800. It's 18-1. He's taken second in Vegas. I think he has the car right now. He has been driving very, very good. I seem to watch him more than any of the other drivers. I'm a fan of his. I think he's just ready to win. He hasn't won on the Xfinity Tour, but he's been second, fourth. He's just been all over. His car is driving good. I just think it's his time. I like him at plus 1,800.
I'm looking him up. Is that for but you're talking about, that's not for
that's in the Xfinity race. That's
the
Saturday.
Xfinity race. Okay.
Woodley was talking Cup. That's on Sunday. You got to, like, when you're looking at the lines, you got to select Xfinity or Cup. You got to go to the Xfinity.
Okay, because I'm actually going to bet that right now. So I don't know enough about the Xfinity. I know nothing. Woodley, any thoughts on Cantu's pick here, Ryan Sieg? I'm betting it.
It's kind of it's like, we obviously hear a lot about Ryan Sieg, but they've put a lot there. He's actually come really close to these tracks. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I'll do it to support Jay White, but he's actually come really close. I've been betting him every week. He's had a really unlucky start to the year though. So he's due, and this would be awesome if he does it. So yeah, I mean, I love to see. I've made some good money with him in fantasy over the years too. So I'm a Sieg guy before I met you guys actually too. So
I am looking forward to the podcast next week. It's going to be March Madness, boys. Ooh. Mikey, meanwhile, give us your number 2 pick.
I'll take 7.5 with Sacramento tonight. It's a good spot. This is, I think, the third or fourth home game in a row for the Warriors. I caught them last week on the fifth game in 6 nights plus the points, and they almost blew the game. So this is a good spot. Sacramento's lost 2 in a row. You're getting 7.5. Give me 7.5 with Sacramento. These teams always play wars together. Last year, I think they played like 6 games, and they all came down to the buzzer. Give me the 7.5.
Cantu?
Go to the next person. Well,
And
to be
now-
honest, I was really thinking about, I really did space off. I might need some ADD medication for what I was thinking about. I was thinking about, we need to get Alan Boston on for the show next week. I was writing it down and then I spaced out for a sec because he's my favorite college basketball guy. It's March Madness tournament.
Oh, Cantu. All right, Woodley, why don't you comment on the Sacramento? I see it at 7 and 7.5, so we're going to be a little liberal there on the Golden State Warriors Kings tonight.
Yeah, I'll take your Warriors, Phil. I don't really have a. You mentioned this about you mentioned about like not knowing people that win NBA sides. Like I don't know anyone. I think the only ones that do win, the only chance we have is like hit the overnight line and then hope it moves like 2 points the right way, and then that's how you make it. I don't know enough about it. I tend to stick away from it for the most part. I trust you on this, so I'm going to tail you with the Warriors. I mean, it does feel like they are sort of turning around.
I am gonna pick.
They are 12 and 1
Warriors.
since they got Jimmy Butler.
Well, I think Mike's comparison of all Sacramento Golden State Warriors games have been close. That was with different rosters.
Yeah,
now we have Jimmy Butler.
I mean,
It's so
the
irrelevant.
Sacramento roster, even though they lost Fox, has also improved. I mean, they got the guy from Chicago, Levine, and they got DeMar DeRozan, and they've been hot or cold, trying to get together. I've seen them win 4 in a row. Now they've lost 2 in a row. I just think it's a good spot for Sacramento, plus 7.5. They're in the same area. They're down the street. They've had a day off. This is the 4th home. This is just a good spot.
I think
The
they're not
Warriors are
playing
going to go
poker.
play poker tonight with fucking Phil.
They're not playing poker.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah,
You know what,
that's
Mike?
the-
I'm agreeing with you. I'm going Sacramento plus 7.5. They're going to be playing poker with Phil
I mean,
later.
I'm not saying they're
won't
going to
be
win,
locked in.
but like if
Yeah,
they get up by 10 or 12, they'll be thinking about that poker game. So
Yeah. The Kings, they don't have any distractions over here.
Exactly.
Sacramento, there's
calling
not much
those-
going on.
exactly.
They'll be worried about calling those pocket tens against Phil's made deuces. Like it. You'll see them miss free throws at the end, and they're going to be like running through the scenarios. Do we want to run it twice against them?
Well, those guys aren't folding 10s on the deuce 5-7 board, Woodley. I got news for you. So
You know
all right.
how Phil flew home? He didn't really fly home because he wanted to missed the NASCAR. He wanted to fly home so then he could talk about his poker game tonight. That's he's not tired or anything. It's just about he's got to go.
Mike,
he's got the special poker game.
I filmed
gotta make
Monday in
money.
Vegas. I filmed Tuesday in Vegas, and I kept telling myself for a week, people at home can laugh at me, I need to have the gift of giving myself Wednesday off. And so then Tuesday night, one of the biggest influencers in the world, John Vlogs, is like, hey, one shop on the plane with us tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Never heard of him.
And then even then, I was still thinking about playing. Mike, I woke up and I said, I'm going to win 30,000 a day. And whenever that happens, it's a good sign. The game was really good, and I still decided to fly home and give myself the gift of one day off. All right, I'm not trying to spit at 30,000. I would take it. Maybe that'll happen.
So I got a question for
tonight.
Mike. Mike just said that he hadn't heard of this influencer. Mike, can you give us your favorite influencer right now? I think the people at home
I
would
don't.
like to
I
hear who
don't
your
give a
favorite
fuck
is.
about influencers. I don't give a fuck about anybody who's rich. I don't give a fuck about anybody. Okay, I care about you guys. I care about friends. I don't care about rich people. They can all suck off. Okay.
I said influencers, not rich people.
Whatever, influencers. Who gives a fuck? My friend Woodley's my favorite influencer. He breaks the news. He tells us what's going on. As a matter of fact, let's talk some fucking NFL free agency. Woodley, break us some fucking news,
Let's go.
Mr. Influencer.
Yeah, well, the Vikings have just been crushing free agency. I mean, it's funny. They got off to kind of a slow start.
I agree.
They've fixed. I mean, they
had
they
two
let
great
Darnold
defensive
walk.
players and an offensive lineman.
But no, 2 offense linemen.
two,
They,
okay.
they have 2 good tackles already. Where they struggled was at center and at guard. They put Will Fries in there, who's like a legitimate top 5 guard, and then they got this center that's like a top 10 center as well. And they're gonna figure out the right guard thing. And then they got like 3 defensive guys. They signed a cornerback.
I've been paying a lot of
couple,
attention
like,
to free
defensive
agency. We should
tackles.
talk a little bit more about that. Yeah.
But wait,
and now,
Mike, let us get us through our
Yeah.
picks. You hijacked the entire show, flipped it towards NFL free agency.
I
I thought we were
hijacked the
done.
show. We had to hear about your influencers all fucking day and your rich friends. Let's go. Go ahead, Woodley. Finish off.
No, Mike, no.
Shut up, Phil.
let's.
Woodley's talking. Go ahead,
No,
Woodley.
we'll come back to it.
Do you really think
Two
that
quick
the
things.
audience wants to hear about NFL free agency, or do you think they want our picks?
Yeah, no.
See, Mike, you were a very special guy. I showed my study once, and you said, "Who gives a fuck about your study?" And like 1,000 people said, "I love your study. I wish you would have shown more." Like your instincts for what's going to sell used to be really good. I just don't understand. Sometimes we're having an argument. You're like, nobody wants to hear this.
I want to hear about fucking Woodley's fucking news that he's going to break. Tell us, Woodley.
Can we get through the picks first, Mike?
No, I want
Let's get through the picks and
I
we'll
thought
come
we
back
already
here
did.
because I do want to spend some NFL free agency
okay,
time.
go
I have
Well,
a lot
Mike,
to
just
say.
because you made your 2 picks doesn't mean the rest of us have. Cantu, what's your second pick?
My second pick, and first off, because I'm going to repeat a pick that I've said now 3 times. This is a long shot. I have came out. This is going to be a complimenting Cantu section here. I got this. About a week ago, I got the Timberwolves at 150-1 to win the NBA championship. I got them to win the West at 60-1. So I have now turned into the biggest Timberwolves fan since my Blazers are out of it, alongside Woodley. Ever since I made that bet, they have won 3 in a row. And here's why I made the bet. And now I still saw you can get some 100-1 out there, Phil. This might be something you like. 100-1 to win the championship. I don't like, because I got 60-1. I've seen 30 and 33-1 to win the West. I like the West a little. Well, that's about the.
I mean, they
even
have the
odds
softest
now.
schedule in the NBA. I mean,
That is why I
knew
bet
that.
it
I
3
knew
games
that, too.
ago. That's why I bet it 3 games ago. The schedule, when you go down and everybody says it's the softest schedule in the NBA,
It's
I
the
went game
softest
by
schedule.
game.
I don't see them losing more than 2 games. Do you?
Thank you, Mike.
No, I'm
Go ahead and
asking
finish.
you.
I went game by game down, and when I say soft, it is bottom 3 teams in the East West. It feels like every week. A lot of if you like to play the Jazz, you like to play those types of
They
teams.
play the
That's all they
Pelicans
play.
twice in a row.
They have no games. They have 3 tough games, and they're 3 tough road games. The other 12 are super winnable. The toughest home game they have left is the Pacers.
Yeah.
And the Pacers aren't that tough.
Cantu, did they win 6 in a row?
Yeah.
They've won 6 in a row right now. They're playing great. They also don't have to play anybody.
I mean, I looked at the schedule. I said 13-2 in the last 15.
I think they're going to go 13-2. They have 3 tough road games, but I think they're going to win 2 of the 3, and I think they're just going to smoke through all their home games.
Mike called it.
They're on the middle of like a 6-game homestand right now, and I'm telling you, we're going to come back next week, and I believe this line's going to be at like 40-1 once they add 3 or 4 more wins this week, however many games they have till we do our next pod.
Woodley, thoughts on Timberwolves? You're an expert.
Yeah, they've. You can say the schedule all you want. I mean, they went into Denver and like fucking destroyed them.
I
They've
agree.
been playing
That was a
really,
big win.
They've been playing really good. I think they're now like 11. They've won 11 in a row where Julius Randle has played. And I've said this. Mike has given me shit all along about Karl Anthony Towns. Even though I've said they couldn't afford him, they had to make some decisions. They're finally gelling. They're figuring it out. Like it takes time for these guys to gel. I saw a stat earlier today too, where Anthony Edwards is one of like 3 guys in the history of the NBA that has over 40% 3-point shooting of a guy that shoots more than 10 a game. So he's like a high volume 3-point shooter, right? So like you can't really, it's hard. Like who's the greatest 3-point shooter of all time? Like obviously there's guys that hit at an insane clip, but they're 3-point merchants. That's all they do. They just sit there and shoot up 4 or 5 games. This guy's throwing up threes left and right. And he's doing historic shit. Like Anthony Edwards kind of laying in the weeds. He got off kind of a slow start. All of a sudden, like Anthony Edwards, again, is improving drastically. I love the odds. I think the West is stacked. I think Oklahoma City is going to be really hard to beat.
I agree.
But I'm very, very, very bullish on my Timberwolves all of a sudden. And it's nice. They haven't been sitting up top all year. They've been kind of laying low, which I think is good for expectations and my expectations, but I think it's good for betting markets and things like that as well. You can still get it. And Randall is like, dude, Randall's pretty fucking good. He takes a lot of heat, but like, he's pretty good.
If he don't just keep going, if he takes it more to the rack and not settle for threes, he's fucking good, dude. I mean,
and Gobert's playing well. Like that's the key is making sure they gel nicely together. But Gobert plays defense, especially in the playoffs. Like you don't need Randall. You don't need 2 bigs dominating on defense all the time. But
I joked around with you a couple of weeks ago saying they suck, but like I honestly think they're the biggest threat to OKC because they can match up, right? They have the size.
I do think they match up
right?
well against OKC.
Like you look at the West, right? You need size to come out of the West. That's why I've been like anti-Lakers, even though they went on that big run, right? And I'm like, wow, wow, maybe they are better than I thought, but they're really not. Like, you need size, and the Timberwolves can match up with anybody. Same with Denver. I actually believe the Timberwolves are the biggest threat to OKC in the West, but I don't think anybody's beating OKC, but they're going to win a lot of games down the stretch. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, injuries happen. Like, I mean, I don't think they win without something kind of crazy happening, but like injuries happen, and you don't root for them. But like,
well, these
happen.
injuries. I mean, like some people say that the Golden State Warriors wouldn't have won all those championships without some other teams.
Yeah, they had a lot of
big
breaks
injuries
their way.
Yeah, like 2015, the Clippers injuries.
And also, and the year they broke the year they didn't win when they set the record, right? I mean, look what happened to them in the final. I mean,
that's where injuries caught up with us.
I mean,
it was
the fucking bullshit. Like Draymond kicked me in the nuts, fucking. So he missed Game 5, and then they were able to win the championship. But I mean, and I do believe that was LeBron's greatest playoff. But if he doesn't pull that shit against his best friend, like him and fucking LeBron are like this. And he's like, oh, he kicked me in the fucking nuts, and he got a fucking suspension, and they won the championship. So.
Guys, I want to add one more thing. They've won 6 in a row, and I know we're not big on schedule dissections as Mike takes us through this. And I'm going to read this super fast.
Yeah.
This is 7 of the next 8 games at home. Magic, Jazz, Pacers, Pelicans, all at home.
Yeah.
Simple. At Pacers is the only a little tough game.
And the Magic are playing
Suns,
terrible.
Pistons at home. That is 7 of their next 8. I think we're going to come back and mark this down for me to clip this later. The T-Wolves are going to be on a 14-game win streak.
They might.
After that.
I look at 12. That's
I really
a lot.
believe it.
I think they lose 1, but like 12 of 13.
I think they are. I think they're clicking.
I think
winning
I
by
would say
20 at home last night against Denver, and I watched a little bit. They look good.
You know, the thing about that game last night, and I missed it, was Denver was coming off the big win over OKC, right? They went lose to OKC, beat OKC, and everybody's like, oh, did you see Joker? He fucking took it to fucking SGA and showed him who the real MVP is. Now they had to come home. They came a little bit flat, and fucking Minnesota got them pretty good. But that's where I talk about scheduling in the NBA is so important.
Okay, guys, listen, I'm going to make a quick pick here. I'm going to go with a number 2. And Woodley owes us a second pick as well, right? So I'm just going to say this. If Cleveland gets to 6-1, okay, right now I see them at 5.5 and a half.
I love them.
If they get to 6-1 to win the NBA championship, I'm going to bet that.
Fuck yeah.
Do I think they're going to beat Boston? No, but they're capable of beating anybody.
They're only one of 3 teams in history or something that had 3 15-game winning streaks or some crazy stat.
You know, Mike, they were like 7-1 last week to win it, and that's when I wish I would have picked them. But anyway, I'm just going to throw a little money out there.
Good, dude. They are
and
good.
To compliment myself, I did give you guys some Warriors at 60-1. I see they're down to 18-1 to win it all. All right, Mike. So you like that pick? The Cleveland?
I do. I mean,
money?
I've been telling people, I'm like, what are people not seeing here? Let me tell you something. They are an all-time. They're on pace to be a top 5 all-time best record in the history of the NBA in the regular season. Okay, they're on pace for like 68, 69 wins. I mean, they've won 15 in a row. What are they? 55-10, right? I mean, they're gonna.
How is nobody talking about
it's
them?
Crazy. And listen. I mean, even the other day they were dead, right? They were down 15. Spider had the game off, right? Mitchell was off, and they came back and they still won. I mean, they're the best, second best defensive team in the NBA, and they have shooters everywhere. They have size everywhere. They're fucking good, and they're good. We talked about it, I think about a month and a half ago, that we thought the Knicks. It was going to be the Knicks in Boston. The Knicks don't play defense, man. And I think it's going to be Cleveland and Boston, and I've changed my mind on the Knicks.
I don't think they're that good, but I will say, as far as that good, do I think they'll make the Eastern Conference Finals? There's two teams in the East. It's Boston, Cleveland, nobody else. I think they are going to be the 2 teams in the East. With that said, I think they're going to lose in like 4 or 5 in the Eastern Conference Finals. They have, but I will say they've got a lot of heart. They've come back.
Year. You think they're going to lose just in 5 games, 4 out of 5? Really?
They've come back. They've been down 15 points in 4 of the 15 games on this current win streak, and they came back to win.
They've
They can
got
shoot.
6 wins, which is an NBA record for coming back from 15 down this season. 6. I saw that stat the other day.
Mike hijacked my point there. Is they've won 4 out of the on their 15-game win streak. They've won 4 down 15. I mean, Mike just literally talked over me to reiterate that point. It was pretty amazing. So
Poor Cantu. Cantu can't handle anybody talking over the top of him. When
no,
you tell
it's
him
not. But I don't have anything else to say. Mike beat me to my point. What do you want me to say?
Sorry.
But I think Cantu, listen, if you could bet Cleveland at 6-1, yes or no? No more time on this.
No shot.
Woodley?
No.
They're not winning. They're just not winning.
Okay. Guys, listen, I want you guys, we're going to have to actually sing a happy birthday. Okay. To people, some of us really love this guy. It's Ryan Feldman's 40th birthday. He's texting me right now. And I want to sing a little
Saturday
happy
when
birthday.
I went to his party.
Well, it's his actual birthday, Mike.
Oh, well, I thought that was his actual birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Ryan Feldman. Happy birthday to you. And by the way, at 12:01 a.m., in about 10 hours, 11 hours, it's Steph Curry's birthday as well.
Nice.
So
Wow,
I know you
Ryan,
had a birthday.
you got put in the fucking same sentence as fucking Steph Curry.
Now, Mike, you were at his 40th birthday
Tell us
party.
about it.
Yeah, let's so I
All I heard is it was too cold. And you whined about that.
So I stayed an extra day because he was having a 40th birthday party. He rented a house for a day. I thought that that was going to be that was nice of me to stay an extra couple for his birthday because he's been good to me. And he got me he brought the guy into the game. It cost me a $92K pot the day before, so I figured I had to reward him by coming to his birthday. And it was funny. He's like, "It's a pool party. We're gonna all be swimming, right?" So now I look at the weather and it says Hermosa Beach, 49 degrees. I'm like, I hope that pool's 110 degrees. And so I get there. I go, "Is the pool heated?" He goes, "No." I go, "Is the spa heated?" He goes, "No." And then we're out there freezing, and then he doesn't. There's like 2 fireplaces, and I'm like, "We've got to light these fireplaces." So I found a way to light the fireplaces, and we were still freezing, but we had a good time. And unfortunately, I didn't talk about this much, but like I flew home the next day. I was standing a lot at the birthday party, and I found myself in the hospital for 13 hours, Sunday night, Monday morning. I really don't want to get into specifics of it, but I'll just tell you that for me to call 911 at 2:35 in the morning and have like a bunch of like paramedics
With
come
all
to my
the
door.
pain you deal with on a daily basis,
Right.
it must have been really bad.
It was really, really bad, and I was very scared. And it ended up being what it always is: my disc, my spinal cord.
Right.
That got inflammation from flying and from standing. And
Okay, Mike. All right. Now we're going to go. Thanks for the update on that party. And all right, we're going to go to David Woodley. Now, Woodley, did you give us your second pick yet? I believe you owe us a second pick, and I believe then we're done with the official picks.
I have not, but someone else is turning 40 in a few days.
who? You?
You are.
Oh,
What day? What day, Woodley?
St. Patrick's Day.
What?
Oh,
I mean, can you
Monday.
just Monday?
Monday, the 17th. Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, David Woodley. Or as we like to say, Woodley. Happy birthday to you and many
happy 40th.
more.
Yeah, I was actually gonna come out to Vegas next weekend for March Madness and do a party, but we have the kid, our next kid's on the way in like 7 weeks, so it's just too close. And our other kid had surgery, and like there's spring break. So I'm gonna do something this summer. I'll let you guys know. We'll do something fun in like June or July, and you guys are all invited. It'll be a fun trip though. We'll plan it out. My pick. Homer Woodley is going Homer on this one. My Oklahoma Sooners, who were kind of dead a few weeks ago, have come on really, really strong. They won, they beat Texas to almost get themselves in the tournament. They beat Georgia, who everybody was talking about last night. Every fake sharp, every Steve Fezzik, every Mike Matusow in the world was on Georgia last night. Oklahoma not only covered, they beat them outright. They play Kentucky tonight. They're 6.5-point dogs. I like Oklahoma. They've been playing really well. I think in the last 7 games, they're 5-2. In those 2 games, they were pretty heavy underdogs. And
Kentucky's
they
been hit or
and they lost in
miss.
overtime.
Kind of like that.
Yeah,
pick. I like it.
6.5 a lot. And I think Oklahoma's covered like their last 7 games. I could be wrong, but give me my Boomer Sooner team. I think the tip's at like 9 p.m. So there's plenty of time for Danny to get this out before that.
Cool. Like it.
Looks like Stanford plays tonight too. Okay, so I don't know anything about this pick, but I'm telling you this. I'm looking it up. I'm going to bet it, Woodley. And Mike, you have some comments, or you know nothing about college?
I've been watching this on Sports Center, and I know Oklahoma's been pretty on a little run, and I do know that Kentucky either wins by 1 million or blows games. So I'll go with them.
Okay, I just bet them. Cantu, I assume you know nothing about college basketball, and we can move on.
I know a little bit. I just don't have an opinion on that.
Okay. I am looking forward to next week, and I think you're right, Cantu. You were saying that we should bring on Alan Boston next week.
Yes, he's about the most knowledgeable person.
Now, I told the
planet
people
about knowing every team, like whatever there's 330 D1 teams. He can tell you
I
the
talk to
lineups
him all
of
the
a
time.
lot
I
of them.
told you I wanted to bring him on, and you guys said no. So, but
That's pretty
well,
crazy.
Mike, when it's your idea to bring him on, it's not a good idea. When it's Cantu's idea, we like it.
Oh, okay.
But it'll be a lot of fun just to hear talking about.
I'll call him today and see if he wants to come on. He'll come on.
Now, I would say this: as tough as it is to pick against the NBA, I know a lot of people that make a lot of money on March Madness.
Yeah, but
it's just a really there's a lot of luck, but it just seems like for some reason I don't think the odds makers are quite as sharp.
The first 2 weeks, it's always the
NCAA
dogs just like cover like nothing. It's crazy.
Mike, you should make a lot of money then because you always bet the dogs.
Yeah, but I don't bet anymore, so it doesn't matter.
Doyle used to bet the board on the first weekend of the March Madness tournament. He would bet the board with all these different poker players, and he'd take all the underdogs and lay minus 103, and he just killed it every year.
Whoa, that's interesting. Yeah. Just take all the dogs. Yeah, I mean there are theories. If you ask Mike Matusow, he'll tell you that the sharpest bettors in the world will bet a lot more underdogs than they'll bet favorites.
I think the 12th seed, a
12
seed
is
early
one,
in the week, I think
too.
a 12 seed is won like 9 out of 10 years, at least one of the 12s.
I remember a few. You guys check me on this, but I believe there a few years ago that 3 12 seeds beat 3 5 seeds in one tournament.
We even had the first 16 seed like 4 years ago, and then I think another 16 seed lost Purdue 2 years ago. So it was like Virginia first one to lose, because I remember we were in that was in 2020 because we were in Washington, and they were all talking about Virginia winning the title, and they were the first 16 seed to lose, and then Purdue. That was the one where Fezzik's fucking laid like 23-1 to win, and everybody, and they lost outright. And he was getting so much shit about it, and they were the second.
Mike Fezzik is your hero, so are you throwing him under the bus now?
That bet, and everybody laughed like, oh, you're gonna lay like 23-1, and then they lost, and it was just funny.
Guys, I just want to lay this out there for everybody. My dream guest, I've never talked to him. I just follow him on Twitter. My dream guest for this pod is Fezzik. We have got to get him on.
I've never met him.
There'd be so much fun to
know
talk
what he looks
with
like.
Fezzik.
George, we need George. George is selling picks. We talked about George selling picks for $100 a pop. This
Yeah,
NFL
100 a
season.
game.
Is that like Sean
100 a
Perry
game.
selling picks too?
Like,
Did you see
nicer
how good
than
Sean Perry played on HCL yesterday? Like,
oh, that was incredible.
I mean, did he really just come up there just to dump 150 so he'd get in $1 million game? Maybe. I don't know. Because that
He
was
dumped
awful.
it.
He dumped it.
Phil would have had words. See, he played tens like Woodley. He
Dude,
played
those
tens like
10s,
Woodley.
yeah,
you
he
know,
played
and it cost
tens
him.
exactly
Losing
like Woodley.
129K pot with tens, like the way the betting went, the guy 4-bet was
On the
so bad.
992.
But I wouldn't do
Or
that
the
in
922.
129K. I wouldn't do that in 129K pot. I would do that in a 2K pot. And I know you're like, that
I
shouldn't
mean,
be a
that was
difference, but it is.
unbelievable. Like, it's like the easiest fold ever. But I like how the guy went overbet. That was nice.
That was, yeah.
You know who I filmed with on Monday, who I really like a lot, is Nick Wright. And Nick has 2 hours a day, 5 days a week on Fox. And we'll see if he's interested. Also, Woodley, I There's a $5,000 NC2A tournament on some of these sites. I think there's one on Splash Sports, which is going to be fun. And then there's some, it's kind of fun. These sites have all these different kind of fun things going on. So Woodley, what will you do? Will you, how many pools will you enter? How's that going to work for you for the NC2A?
I'll be in a Calcutta one for sure. I'm buying like a piece of a friend's and giving them some advice. I might have a piece of another one. Man, I just like don't have a ton of time to research it as much this year. I'll probably do one of those splash ones, one of the bigger ones. And I'll probably do like one or two more. I'm not one of these people that likes to fill out like 10 different brackets. I kind of like to say, okay, I'm going to do like 2 or 3. And like for the most part, they're all the same. And then like when it comes to the final 4, I might pick a different winner because it's like, it's fun because like if you get far, all of a sudden you're like, okay, now I'm golden. Once you're in the final 4, you have like a couple opportunities there. But I don't, I like to do it where it's like, you're going to crush it or you're going to lose it.
Mikey, pre-Woodley, before Woodley knew us, weren't you and Cantu with me in the area? We were in this massive suite doing a Calcutta with Mike Sexton. Were you there, Mike?
That was many years ago. Yeah. I was there.
Were you there, Cantu?
I've done a few Calcuttas with you. I don't know if I was there for that one. We did one in Portland, I know.
Hey, what do you guys, I don't want to...
So these Calcuttas are fun, Mike. There's a fair amount of skill.
Do you guys want to comment winners and losers on the NFL free agency so far, like 4 days in?
No, I think the problem is we can't bet on that, right? So I think
I think it's good to talk about. I think right now the Bears and the Vikings are the biggest winners.
Mike, how about this? You and I, the one thing that I've advertised about this show is I've gone 11 out of 11 years picking NFL totals, and we do it early sometimes. We get the picks out early. Something always on that board to me, that is the most skill. Because I've won 11 out of 11. We always make 2-3 picks. Something, it's like you're looking at the board over 10.5, under 10.5, and something, it's like there's a nail. And I see it, and I just hammer it. I'm like, oh my God, how can they be that far off, the odds makers? And between the brain trust we have here, we've done it all the time. Now, Mike, you managed to somehow, even though 11 out of 11 years I've won, you managed to go against me a couple of years and lose. I don't know what you're thinking.
I had Miami over. I was going to go Jets under, but I went Miami over, and Tua missed 8 games, and they went under by 1 game. What do you want me to do?
I think we all didn't like that pick.
No, we
Miami
did.
Over.
We liked Miami.
You did.
You guys did too. We were deciding between the Jets over, and we both thought Buffalo was going to be down, which we were wrong. And
Woodley called the Jets under. He's like, there's no way, and he called it early.
But I also asked Woodley at the time, would you like more, the Jets under or Miami over? He said Jets under, but he liked my pick. Tua doesn't go down. You think they don't win fucking one more game?
Mike, it's one thing to like a pick. It's another thing to bet a pick. Right. I did have Detroit over 10.5 games. I think
maybe we should have taken into account that Tua has a history of concussion problems and he wouldn't play the full
San Francisco to win the division at fucking even money. And everybody on San Francisco got injured. What the
Mike,
fuck?
you're
looking
unlucky.
pretty
You're
chubby.
just an unlucky
He's
guy,
looking
Mike.
pretty. He's looking pretty chubby these days too, Mike. They showed a picture of Tua the other day. He's kind of. I don't want to body shame, but he's kind of got the Mike Matusow physique going on right now.
Remember, Mike, when you pick the season total for the Dolphins this year, Tua, there's a high chance he's going to get hurt for a lot of games.
Oh, fuck him.
All right, guys.
You can't trust him. You can't trust him. You can't trust Tua moving forward.
I think we can almost.
I just think I've been paying a lot of attention to free agency. I think the Bears, the Vikings, and the Washington Commanders killed it. I think Kansas City regressed.
But Mike, no one can bet an NFL game for like months.
I understand, but free agency is so big, man. It really kind of gives you an idea of where the teams stand going into the next season.
I don't know. To me, the NCAA tournament, that's next week. That's more interesting to talk about.
Really?
And, I gave everybody Duke to make the Final Four last week. And so the odds are coming down a little bit. But I'm the kind of guy that I like Duke so much that I'll be rooting for them to not win their tournament. So the odds go up a little bit.
You're in luck, Phil. Let me give you some breaking news. Cooper Flagg turned his ankle. They went to 7.5 to 1. He's going to miss the ACC tournament. You got your wish.
7.5 to 1?
Yeah, 7.5 to 1 now.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, and by the way, and
He might miss. Flag might miss the first round too. It's supposedly you got to see him getting pushed off in the wheelchair. I love watching sprained ankles.
They don't need him for that
off.
first or second round though. They don't need him against the 16
I
seed.
agree.
They don't need him against the 9
by the
seed.
way,
They still have two NBA players
he's coming,
other than
he's
him.
coming out to the NBA. That whole thing that he's staying another year in Duke, that's not happening.
Okay, well, anyway, so this is more interesting. This is great. So now I'm gonna reach out to our friend Ben and our friend Stu, and I'm gonna see what the odds are. If it is 7.5 to 1, then I get to bet a pretty big bet on Duke to win it all. And of course, they're gonna fly through the first 2 rounds.
I hate Duke,
and then
so I hope they lose. Oh wait,
Mike,
if
he
you
hates
bet on
Duke.
them, I won't bet. I won't go against you. I just never
Mike,
liked Duke. They're my most
I've
hated
never
team.
in my entire life, every time I say I love an NFL team in a game, you come with the opposite. If I'm a favorite, if I'm an
I said
underdog,
I hate Duke as a fucking college. I've always rooted against them. They're my most hated fucking basketball college.
I heard
team.
what you said, but I also find it interesting that I'm not saying that you're betting against Duke this time. All right, guys, I think we can wrap this up. I think we've done a pretty good job. I think next week's going to be even more exciting. We're going to have a bunch of bets on the NC2A tournament. Also, I like having all 4 of us. It's better than 3 of us for sure.